Hi, everybody. How are you? And we are here for another episode of the Wired for Success podcast. I am here today with my dear colleague Steve Costello and myself, Patience Modevi. And today we are going to talk to you about mindfulness. Every day is a life. Life is an adventure. So, Steve, start us up. What do you think about this statement?
I think it's a great statement. Everyday life is an adventure. But what happens? Why do we lose that sense of adventure? Because we get caught up in a circle of must do, must do, must do, or the circle of haven't got enough money, have to keep working, need to work more than usual. We get caught up in all kinds of circles that, frankly, drive us nuts. They stop us from being mindful. They take us out of the moment into worrying about what we did or didn't do in the past and what we need to do in the future, maybe or maybe not, or if we do it like that, maybe not. And suddenly we become overwhelmed. We may even become anxious. We may become stressed. All kinds of things can happen. So the important thing to know when we mention mindfulness, we're not talking about some kind of bandwagon that lots of people jumped on in the 1970s and ever since. We're not interested in that. Mindfulness is a fantastic practice that can really help us to live life in this particular moment, right here, right now. It can really help us to live life as though every day really is an adventure. And I was telling patients a few minutes ago, one of my clients quite a while back said, "So I'm going to be needing a cushion, am I?" Because she thought that we were going to be doing some kind of meditation that involves sitting on cushions chanting Om. Not true. Okay, if that gets you excited sitting on a cushion chanting Om, great, go ahead, do it. But when we talk about mindful living, we're talking about day-to-day life. We're talking about day-to-day life with our kids, day-to-day life with our jobs, day-to-day life with the bills that come through the letterbox, day-to-day life with just about everything that life can throw at us. And one of the important things to remember is that I've said this before as well, and I'm not going to apologize for repeating it. We are human beings. We are not human doings. Now, the problem is that we often get mixed. We get confused. We become doing machines and we forget to be. We need to be. We need to be for ourselves. We need to be for our families. We need to stop doing and slow things down a little bit. So here's a great exercise to get us going. The exercises that I really love the most, and I always teach these to my clients, are the ones that you do as part of your everyday adventure. They're not things that you've got to go and sit in a quiet room with the curtains closed and incense burning and all that stuff. They're not those sorts of activities. So this particular one involves 3 events. Each event should take about 15 minutes. So I don't mean you should do one, then the other take 45 minutes. It doesn't really work like that. So you need 15 minutes. So let's say today your 15 minutes is going to be a car drive. So you get in the car, you're going shopping, you're going to work, whatever you do in your car for 15 minutes. Notice what you can notice. Keep your eyes on the road, focus on your driving, just notice what you can notice. Don't react to it, don't judge it, just breathe through it. Don't get frustrated at the traffic lights because they happen to go red just as you were approaching. And if the car in front would have gone past, you would have got through. Forget all of that. 15 minutes, just notice what's going on around you. And then when you've got a minute, just analyze that 15 minutes. What did you notice? What did you see? What did you feel? How was it? If it was stressful, just say that. It was stressful. If it was really cool and you enjoyed it, it was really cool. I enjoyed it. Don't analyze it. Just say whatever it was. Say it as it was. So that's a 15-minute drive. And then go for a walk for 15 minutes. Anywhere. You may be going shopping. You may be going across the park. 15 minutes walking. What happens during that walk? What do you see? What do you notice? What do you feel? What do you smell? Because there are usually smells when you're out there walking. It might be a cafe or a fish and chip shop or the flowers in the park. It could be
Mm.
100 things or more.
Yes.
So what do you notice in that 15 minutes that you go for a walk? And at the end of your 15, analyze it. What did you feel? What did you see? Just go through it. Just repeat it a little bit in your mind and notice. Don't judge anything. Don't judge the kids who were kicking a ball against a wall. Don't judge the car that went past or the motorbike that went past too quickly and made a lot of noise. Don't judge it. Just notice it. Okay, so we've been for a car drive and we've been for a walk. Now the one in the middle. You can do these in any order, by the way. There's no set order. The one in the middle, if you can, get on a bike. Go for a bike ride for 15 minutes. And what happened during that 15 minutes? What did you notice? What did you smell? And so on and so forth. Same exercise as the other two, but you're using a different mode of transport. If you don't have a bike, do you have roller skates? Do you have a scooter? Do you have another means of getting around? Or do you happen to use the train? So what happened during that 15 minutes on the train? So there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Noticing the world around us is a fantastic way to notice that everyday life is actually an adventure. So let's just do one more exercise. Let's go back to the traffic lights. So come on, be honest. Patience, what happens to you when you come to a traffic light and you're trying to get your children to school in the morning? Is it okay? Does it make you
A
feel good?
lot. A lot is happening. A lot is happening. I'm like, oh, I need to go there quick, 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 quick. Why is this not going quick? And then after, or then you're thinking, oh my gosh, I forgot to buy this for this thing. There's so many things coming into your head when you're at the traffic light. Weirdly, when you're driving, it's fine. But when you stop at the traffic light, you're like, oh, I forgot this. Oh, what about that? Oh, you know, yeah. I think it's a lot of things happening, and
Yeah,
this is where
interesting.
the mind is like everywhere instead of just being calm and just in the moment. The mind is actually thinking of so many things. I think it's also
Yeah,
the way we live, you know. In the way we live, we are such in a hurry. We're going here, we're doing that, we have this thing to do, and it's time, then da, da, da. That at some point, it's like when your mind kind of quiets, it's like all of those things that are still coming in. So you're at the traffic light and you stopped in the
yeah,
car, but your mind is still going.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
so what oh, sorry,
I
go
think that
on.
little phrase that I was just going to say, that little phrase that you put in there, there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
That is a big one, because that a lot happening is one of the reasons why people end up suffering from stress. It's one of the reasons why some people end up suffering from chronic stress and get sick, because there's so much going on up here that their head, their mind, their body eventually can't cope with it all. And it stops. It says, no, enough of this. I don't want all this.
Mm.
So we need to really focus on finding the ways to just calm things down a little bit and enable us to be rather than do, like I said before.
Yeah.
Just think for a minute about the shop. You go to a supermarket and you're going to do the weekly shop or the monthly shop or whatever you want to do. And there's a queue at every till. So what's the first thing we do? I'll tell you the first thing I do. I look at what people have got in the baskets. So I don't want to go in that queue. They've got full baskets. I'm not going in that queue. What about this one? No, too many. And so on. So I look at the queues. And by the time I've gone all the way down all these lines and found that they've all got the same, I notice one at the far end has suddenly freed up, but I
Yeah.
can't get there quickly enough in somebody else's need.
Yeah.
What is the point? What is the point?
This is the biggest conundrum of shopping. you know, getting to the till.
Absolutely. So, would it not be better to pick the nearest line to wherever you finish your shopping and stand in the line and notice what's going on? Just notice what's going on around you. Notice that guy with the amazing long hair or that woman with the fantastic color in her hair. Notice the perfume that you can smell, but you're not sure where it's coming from. I quite like that actually. Well, I'm not too sure about that one, but I like that one. Just notice what's happening around you. And before you know it, because you've been in the moment, you're not stressing about where you need to be next or what you should have done 2 hours ago. Suddenly you find that it's your turn at the till and you get through the shopping. Now that
Yeah,
sounds a little bit simplistic, a little bit crazy, but it's true. All we're doing is bringing ourselves to this moment so we can have our
it
little
is.
adventure. And what's wrong with a little adventure? Nothing. It's a good thing. Now, there are a lot of exercises that we can use like that, just day to
Nothing
day
wrong.
exercises.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, patience, what else do we have?
I think one thing that I realize is that in general, and here I'm really talking in a broad way, is that the southern people, so people who live in the south in general, I found that they adopt a lot of a mindful life. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I can remember the times where I will be at a cafe drinking an espresso. An espresso is quite short. Is not big. You don't have to stay there for half an hour, 1 hour. But I will stay on the terrace. So in cafes in France, I will stay on the terrace and I will just watch people go and watch the birds that the pigeons that are fighting over I don't know a piece of bread over there, and watch this old lady who's crossing the road, and just watch the people come, the families going by, passing by with their children. All of this is mindfulness, and this is free, and this is what you can also call an adventure. The idea is that don't get hung up on the word adventure here, as in you have to actually be going with your backpack and you're going to the mountains. It's not about that. The idea is how you bringing this mindful living or this mindful way um, into your day-to-day life more and more, and you kind of slow down, because mindfulness is basically slowing down, getting some more awareness of where we are in the moment. So, how do you
Yeah.
create more of that? So, the example I've given is a perfect example. So, next time you're going, I don't know, to Starbucks, for example, instead of staying inside, why not stay outside and just watch people go? Watch
Yeah.
people be, how they walk, are they walking fast, slow, what's happening? Just notice. Again, that's a mindful exercise. And I think if I could even go further, um, you can start in the morning when you wake up, when you're brushing your teeth. That's a mindful exercise that you can do. So when we brush our teeth and we are, let's say, in the routine. So right now is the holiday period. Everything is slowing down. We're taking our time. But when we're in the routine, we're like, quick, 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 quick. I need to brush my teeth. I need to go here. You're already thinking of the next thing you need to do. What about if whilst you're brushing your teeth, you're only thinking about brushing your teeth? Could you do that?
Yeah.
And I know it sounds so simplistic, but is it as simple as I'm saying it? I'm not too sure.
I think it can be simple, but it's not always simple. So, somebody said quite a long time ago now, without your reaction, everything is powerless. Nothing
Mm.
has any power whatsoever in your life if you don't react to it. And think about it for a minute, it's entirely true. So I'll just share a quick example with you. So I'm not going to apologize for telling you another mountain bike story, but this is another mountain bike story from yesterday. So yesterday, yeah, it was yesterday. The day before yesterday, just to give you the kind of atmospheric conditions, is the best way to put it. It rained hard, very,
Yeah.
very hard. And there was mud all over the
Yeah.
place, and it really wasn't good. But I thought because yesterday was quite hot, that I thought, okay, so the mud's not going to be too bad. So I'm going to go up this particular mountain. It is really quite a big mountain, but it's forestry tracks. So they kind of meander their way up the mountain. I thought I'll do that, plop over the other side because I knew roughly where I would end up. And that would be the main part of the ride. So off I go, up, 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 5.5 kilometers, still going up, just over 7 kilometers, still going up, thinking this is getting a bit steep. I'm getting tired because it was hard work. And then I noticed that the ground had gone red, and that's usually because of the mud, the earth underneath. It's a very red color. It's very, very beautiful, actually. And and then I realized that I'd slowed down, that I was still giving the same energy. So I'd slowed down. So what was going on? I looked at my front tire and it was getting wider and wider and wider with every turn. In other words, I was collecting mud, and
Yeah.
it got so difficult that I stopped. I didn't want to stop. I just stopped, looked at the bike and started laughing because my tires were huge in comparison to what they should have been. And then I realized that I was actually stood in the mud. So there was no way I could get back on the bike because I have clips on the bottom of my shoes that connect me to the pedals. I had so much mud on my shoes that they were almost twice the width that they should have been. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do? The only one thing to do is get out of this mud and then try and clean off the bike and clean me off. So I started pushing the bike and I realized that my back wheel wasn't going around. There was too much mud. And then after a minute or so, the front wheel stopped going around as well. So then I tried to pick up the bike and I couldn't. It was too heavy. I absolutely could not, and I'm not weak, but I could not pick this bike up. So I struggled and struggled and struggled to get clear of the mud, which was quite a long way. I don't know how far, I didn't measure. And when I got out of the mud, I cleaned off the bike best I could, carried on to the top of the hill. And then what did I find at the top? A dead end. It didn't go anywhere. I'd taken the wrong trail. So I laughed,
Mm.
turned around, remembered that I had to get past the mud on the way down, and went into speed mode to get down this mountain, which was, as I said, was quite steep. I did go through the mud without stopping because I was
Really
going so
quickly.
quick, it didn't matter. And then I cleared the mountain. So I was perfectly mindful all the way through. And I felt quite proud of myself for staying mindful. It would have been easy when my wheels wouldn't go around to throw a tantrum. Who would I blame? Nobody there, only me.
Yeah.
So I could have got angry because I couldn't get my feet on the pedals. There's a lot of things I could have got
Mm.
angry about. And when I got to the top and it was very, very clear that there was nowhere to go, I had to go back. The first thing my head said on going back was, this is going to be fun because there's a lot of downhill coming up. So I did have a lot of fun going down. So that is about having a mindful adventure. That really was an adventure. It was cool. And I would do it again. Okay, maybe I would avoid the mud next time, but it was good. If my mind would have been full, if I would have reacted to the mud, to all the different things that happened on the
Having
way,
the adventure, exactly.
we seem to be losing connection again.
Sorry. a bit of technical issue. So basically, when you were saying that, I thought everything you told us is an actual adventure. You have, so if this was, let's say, a book and a story that was being told, it would be an adventure. You decided to go up the hill, and then, no, first of all it rained really hard, and then after, but it was sunny, so you thought it was fine, you went up. So there's all these challenges, and then these breakthroughs happening, but all in a mindful ways. So the fact that is mindful way is allowed you to control your emotions. And this is what people need to understand here, is when you are bringing mindfulness into your life, you are also reacting differently. And because you're reacting differently, everything takes another level. Everything is in another perspective. So it could have gone really wrongly. It could have been like, I'm at the top of this mountain and this is happening and blah, blah, blah. And you could have stayed stuck over there because you were so much into this negative spiral where you'll be angry and all of these things. But actually, the fact that you laughed and you took it in a playful way, I think that's also another attribute of mindfulness. It becomes a playful thing. It becomes something that is light, is not heavy on the mind, heavy
Yeah.
on yourself. And I think this is what's really key in the story. I mean, this is what I took from the story. This is what really key from the story is like, you take it light, you light-hearted, you go on this adventure and you come back, and at every step of the way you realize where you are at, and you know you have the breakthrough.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think as well, whilst we're on that, I'm not suggesting to everybody get out there and climb a mountain on your bike, because
Yes.
that's not something that everybody wants to do. That's fine. However, if we can get out there and have a real world adventure once a week, once a fortnight, an adventure, for example, I can think, Patience, you live in the London area. For me, living in the London area, I used to go to the South Downs, sometimes on a
Mm,
bike, sometimes walking, sometimes sitting in a cafe in Brighton eating ice cream.
yeah.
But getting out there and having a real adventure makes a difference. It only needs to be short. It doesn't need to be expensive. Our kids love it too. It's not just for us, the adults, it's for all of us. So if we can have that little adventure, that enables us then to have a mindful adventure. So there's a lot of wins, a lot of very positive things about that. And I think one of the other things to mention as well is that think about childhood, think about small children. All of us, or many of us, encourage our small children or the children around us to judge things. When they go to school, they're judged. Therefore, they learn a little bit more about judgment, and they carry on being judged all the way through school, and they too begin to judge. They
Judge.
judge the kid down the street because his uniform's smarter or not as smart, because he
Yeah.
likes Liverpool instead of Everton or whatever. There's all kinds of judgments going. Some of them are harmless, some of them obviously are not. But judgment is something that leads us to be mindless.
Mm,
So if we can teach ourselves not to judge everything, to take
mm,
things at face value. Okay, we might not like what we're seeing, we might not like what we're hearing, but as I said a few minutes ago, if we give it power by reacting, it takes the power, whatever it is. If we don't react, it can't take any power, it becomes powerless. So non judgment enables
yeah.
us to keep
Yeah.
our own, because we need to
That's
keep our
right.
own power sometimes. We could talk all day about this. This is one of the challenges with mindfulness because there's so many things we can do.
So many. I think a great way is like we mentioned today. So I'm not going to give any more examples or any more practices, but as we mentioned today, remember that you can take any activities in your life and keep it as mindful. Steve talked to us about the mountain bike, but he also talked to us about the car, driving in the car. I talked to you about the brushing your teeth, or staying at a coffee shop and just watching people go. It's really simple activities that are in a way bringing an adventure. And plus also I found that they humanize us. Those little activities, they make us all more connected. Even though it might be something that you are doing by yourself, it really connects you more to the outside world. So I think that's a great way to also add to your holiday, your summer holiday.
Yeah, brilliant.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for being with us today. And we will see you next week for the next episode of the Wireless for Success show. But before we go, remember that in the details episode, you've got description, and you also have the contact details, how to get in touch with us, how to follow us. We encourage you to subscribe to the podcast, to subscribe to the YouTube videos, and to also follow us and ask questions. If you have any questions or any topics you want us to cover, and we will be happy to do so. All right, so we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. You take care, guys. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye.